crispy.
Alright, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Figures in Action. And today's offering is basically it's he wanted, so I got contacted by a friend of mine, someone who I met in person a couple years ago and have communicated various times online, and he's a collector and also ACBA artist, pretty good ACBA artist. And so yeah, hit me up. We had, he had kind of over the years kind of mentioned getting a dial from me eventually, and finally hit me up and said, listen, I'm ready to. Actually, it's a funnier story. He had posted a question about how diorama makers deal with people who may be a little picky. I could be wrong on this, Diego. It was something to that effect. Or more so how they go about dealing with clients and so forth and so on. So I had answered that question, and not too long after that, Diego hit me up and he said, listen, I'm ready to do something. Here's my budget. This is what I have in mind. So basically what he had in mind was he wanted something like kind of a alleyway, but also that had kind of a schoolyard feel to it. He's from New Jersey, so it's a New Jersey, New York area. So I started going first into my memory banks, as I do have some experience in visiting New York and New Jersey over the years, going back as far as the 80s when my cousins and my aunts lived up there in Brooklyn, in I think it was the Bushwick section of Brooklyn, off of Myrtle Ave, if I remember correctly, is where my aunt lived for years. So I would go there, so I was familiar with New York and the visuals, and I'm pretty sure it helped inspire me now in life in terms of kind of seeing that, and also obviously the Boston alleyways as well. Who as a graffiti artist, I love to walk. Always loved walking the alleyways of Boston. And New York didn't get a chance to walk around as much as I was younger. Now that I'm older, when I get there, for the most part, I'm doing the whole touristy thing where I'm doing New York Comic-Con, visiting with friends, but I'm not really exploring the guts of the city. Anyway, I digress. So he told me what he had in mind. I hit him back up with what I can do in terms of what he wanted, what fit his budget. So this dial is about 16.5 inches across, actually, so it's a little bit larger, but the play area is about 16 inches across because the fence cuts off a little bit here. I made it I believe, oh man, I want to say maybe almost 12 inches solid deep. So the wall kind of sticks out and kind of dips in a little bit. So at that point it's 13, at this point it's 10.5, 11. And some of the elements that he wanted were, I think he mentioned that he definitely wanted like one of those lights that is overhead over most of the doors when people build these type of dials. And I told him I can do it. He definitely wanted a grate, one of those roll down grates, and I told him I'd throw a window in there, and I actually threw in a bar window, which I haven't done in a while. I like doing those. And then I figured, well, if you want a schoolyard, what says more schoolyard than a basketball hoop, raggedy backboard, and a schoolyard type fence? So I figured that those elements would kind of fill. I have already shown pictures of not the completely finished dial, as I added a few more things and actually raised this from the original picture that I showed him, added some graffiti as there was some emptiness there, and sprayed it down with insulation or acrylic sealer rather. So all right, real quick, let's get into this. So this here is, somebody hit me up, was like, yo man, I really need to find this gutter mesh guard as tall as yours is. the thing is that this is actually two pieces. These only come in 6 inches tall. So what I did is I kind of had to and I'll close up. You can see it when I close up, but you can see where they don't meet perfectly, which is not the, it would have been very difficult to blend them, but putting that bar in the background is where the blending comes in terms of these pictures, because if I'm at this distance you're not going to notice it as much. I had created this and then I had just left kind of a hollow door, as I've seen schoolyards just not have a kind of a door, just just the opening or whatever. And then I posted this on my Instagram page, and somebody hit me up. I was like, "Yo, dude, a door would look amazing." And the minute he put that in my head, I had no choice but to create a door. So luckily, the door is a working door, so he can open it, he can close it, which is kind of cool. The way I went about this fence is, so basically I two pieces. These are zip ties, so I zip tied them. The support, so these are dowel rods, dowel rods. So I did the whole dowel rod thing, and then the door was built separately. Let me take Daredevil over here, just wanted for comparison. And then the door was basically put on using zip ties, but what I did is I kind of did a longer zip tie, and then I took a smaller zip tie and I kind of sealed it, I guess is probably the best way to put it. The door is one of the doors that I've created. I think at one point I did like 6 or 7 doors, so that's one of them. So I'm running out of doors. I think I have 1 or 2 left. I may not have, no, I should have at least 1 or 2 left. This is the, kind of those guards. My homie SK File told me what they're called, and I completely forgot. These have a name, but these are just pretty much they're there, so when a truck is backing up, they're not going to hit the building and damage the integrity of the building. Instead, they would hit these, which are just pretty much hollow metal with cement poured into them, like the real ones. In this case, this is just a dowel rod with some sand, whatever it's called, that sand stuff that I use, and painted gray, and then did the whole pick thing with this as I did with the last dial. In terms of the floor, this is just permanent debris. I will add some kind of newspaper stuff so you can kind of throw around. So I was able to kind of, those two are pegged in. Then that window is a non-working window, but it's a cool window because, let me switch the light there. What I did is, you probably can't even tell, but there is plastic there, but instead of using vellum paper as I did on here, so that's just vellum paper, and you're pretty much able to shine light behind it, which is why vellum paper looks really good, because you can kind of highlight some stuff from the back and give it a whole other kind of element in terms of lighting. What I did here is just action figure packaging. I'm just stumbling all over my words. I woke up a little while ago. My apologies, everyone. So took that, kind of scratched it down, so what it does, it kind of gives it like this cloudy look, so you can't see. You know what? I'll put Daredevil on the other side so you guys can kind of see. So you can kind of see Daredevil, but not really. It's literally just, it's cloudy. You can't see, you can't really make out his face and so forth. So put in those bars, and those bars are just dowel rods again. And the technique is pretty much kind of stabbing them up and then stabbing them down. So each one, they're sharpened out. So when I stab them, so I don't have to really glue them. They kind of just stay in place. Inside the frame is skinny foam, and the frame of the outside is balsa wood, as is the frame on the outside of this, and the frame on the outside of that is balsa wood as well. One of the things I wanted to do, and I don't know if Diego's, a lot of times when you're in New York and New Jersey, you kind of become immune to to the graffiti and the artwork that's around you, because you just kind of live in it every day. But I looked up New Jersey legends, and PK was one of the guys that came up, so I tried to replicate a PK throw up, as we call it in the graffiti world, and hopefully that will be something that Diego is familiar with. Threw in a no dumping sign, threw some of those skinny nails, those tiny little nails that I use, and then throw in a no parking sign. I think that's about it. That's about it for this guy. Threw in some of these some greenery coming out. One of the things that Diego, he had showed me another dial that I did a few dials back, and he wanted something similar, but the person who ordered that dial had a much bigger budget, so I was able to do a lot with it. So it's not easy to try to do a lot when you have a smaller budget, because again, it's a time thing, it's a material thing. But what I did do for Diego, or what I'm gonna do, because I haven't done it yet, I hope he doesn't kill me, but I'm gonna create another floor, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of I'm not gonna magnetize it or anything. It's just gonna kind of be a basic floor. I'll put some debris, but not as much as here, so it'll allow him to, for example, he can kind of swish that wall out and kind of put a floor there and extend the play area, or the area for photography. He can take this fence out and put it on the other side. This fence is removable. This back piece is one piece that's movable. That piece is also movable. That fence up there is not. I had intended it to be, you know, taken on and off, but it's not going to work out. I need this to be protected. This is a permanent backboard. I need that to be protected. So if that's exposed, it can snap off. So I can't allow that to happen. So that little piece that's up there is permanent. And I mean, I shouldn't say permanent, because I didn't even glue it in. I spray painted this, and the spray paint was still a little bit wet, so when you stab it in there, it kind of dries in there. So it can be removed if you really needed to remove it. Threw in some graffiti as he had requested that. Also threw in some of these little stickers that I've been using from my homie 5420. I always mess up his name, and I wish I messed it up again. But yeah, Steven Snes Fernandez, who does some amazing props. And yeah, that's about it, man. So I'm just going to put in some, oh, and the height, it's 12 inches tall. Yet again, you know, this happens to me quite often. For some reason, I miscut that piece. This back piece, I made it a little bit shorter than what I wanted to. And I don't understand how I didn't see it before I started cutting it. So I do all the brick lines, do the window, and then I connect it. I'm like, yo, why is it like an inch shorter? What the fuck? So, luckily having that little, and then I'm at my desk, and I'm at my feet is that little piece of fence that I don't even remember where I cut it from. So I was like, yo, this is perfect. So it ended up being a good look, and he gets to have a black fence and a metallic chrome fence as well. So yeah, the fence is it's stabbed up here in the corner. It's stabbed there on the ground, and that back piece is magnetized, and this is a magnetized piece. And apparently some people have discovered that you can now actually make these modular, and you can take them apart by magnetizing them, and amazingly they're easier to ship when they're not like that. Crazy. So yeah, so there's magnetized, can be taken apart. And that is about it, guys. I will have pictures at the end. Questions, comments, leave them. And by the way, I'm almost up to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm excited about that. Still not sure how I'm going to celebrate. I'm sure I'll be giving away some shit. I'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.